For 3 years, I had been roaming the country as an environmental educator, organic farmer, marine mammal observer, youth coordinator, and ultimate nomad. I loved my life, but was tired of moving every couple of months and saying hello and goodbye all too often. I also had very little formal training in environmental education, and by that time knew it was what I wanted to focus my career on, so I thought graduate school would be a good place to get that. It would give me the skills and knowledge to procure a more permanent position so that I could mature in my life. Plus, my brother told me to. My favorite part of the graduate fellowship has been leading Exploration Week and teaching field instruction. Both activities made me a better leader and educator. They were also incredibly fun, although oftentimes quite bloody. I've struggled most with the isolation. It has been incredibly difficult living in Land O'Lakes for 2 years with very little outlets. When activities are found in town that may get me off campus for a while, it is very difficult to find the time to do these activities. I'll always have a special place in my heart for the other graduate fellows, but it can be overwhelming spending all of your professional and personal life with the same people. This is not to mention the difficulties living with high school students. Work is never over. It has been nearly non-stop for 2 years.
Found myself alone, surrounded by strangers.
Fostering future environmental leaders happened each semester in residential life by simply being a positive example. I know when I was a teenager, the younger adults who led my camps or coached my teams had a huge influence on my character. I have always tried to give back to those who helped me get to where I am by being a role model for the younger generation. Of course, one cannot reach every student, but I do believe that I have had a positive or neutral influence on each student that I have worked with. The students who attend Conserve School are already on their way to becoming great leaders, most of them in the environmental field. I would not be surprised if one of them ended up being my boss someday. As a graduate fellow, I have had the opportunity to mentor these students and lead by example. It has been a gratifying experience. By acting as a mentor and modeling sustainable behavior for the students, I think this could in turn increase their environmental literacy. Environmental literacy is difficult to see or measure in the short term, but I know these students will take what they have gained here and partially from me and bring it into their communities. In the Land O'Lakes community specifically, it has been a challenge. The locals have not always been inviting or kind to the other graduate fellows and me, but I've at least tried to model sustainable behavior. My favorite method of modeling sustainable behavior is through mindfulness. Being mindful of your impact on the environment then cascades into behaviors such as recycling and composting, both of which I do and advocate for others doing. I am not perfect. I am by no means zero waste, nor is my carbon footprint very low. I have flown many times throughout the fellowship and driven so many miles that I'm on my second vehicle. After completing the fellowship, I plan to move to a city where I will significantly reduce my driving and flying. Thus, I will become an even better model of sustainable behavior. As a field instructor, I wrote several lessons, planned them, and delivered them to the Conserve School students. However, these lessons were not really environmental education lessons, but outdoor skills lessons. I hope that by learning these skills, students found new ways of enjoying nature, but I wasn't really teaching about such topics as climate change or overpopulation. In addition to my work as a field instructor, I represented cool things in nature at the WAEE Fall Conference, the WAEE Winter Workshop, the Student Outdoor Educators Conference, the Wisconsin Green Schools Youth Summit, and an environmental club in Phelps, Wisconsin. Cool Things in Nature hopes to increase environmental appreciation and awareness through videos. By sharing these videos and my work with CTIN, I feel as though I grew as an environmental educator. In the future, I hope to use my experience as a graduate fellow to get a job in the short term. I think the skills that I have gained through the fellowship make me a strong candidate, and the master's degree certainly cannot hurt me, nor can it ever be taken away from me. I'll miss the friendships that I have made and the camaraderie. I'll miss the connections that you are able to make with students when you both work and live with them for 4 months. In addition, I will certainly miss the access to all the beautiful wilderness and equipment. I'm excited for the next chapter of my life. I'm moving to Baltimore with my favorite person. Once I procure a job, life will be as perfect as I could ever dream of. Thank you so much for this exceptional opportunity. Although I often complained and struggled greatly, I know that I am a much stronger and better environmental educator and person. Life is spectacular.
That don't suit ya, that's a drag.